I never even dreamed of being a farmer. I always thought that I was going to be more of a celebrity. I am Edith Elizabeth Hardy Green. I was born in Southern Brunswick County, Virginia. I was born in 1928. My father's name was John Wesley Hardy, and my mother's name was Cora Lee Rice. My father was a carpenter, and my mother was a homemaker. And during the spare times, my father, if he wasn't chopping wood or doing something to keep his family well fed, he would be in the gardens making vegetables. We always had plenty of vegetables. We had pigs, chickens, we had a cow, and basically he hunted a lot, and he killed rabbits and squirrels and turkeys and whatnot. He used to trap fish in the Mahoring River and bring home lots and lots of fish and give them to all the people in the neighborhood because there was always more than we could eat. I don't remember any of my grandparents because I was way down the line. It was like 14 children in the family. I have sisters and brothers. I was the youngest girl, and I had one brother younger than me. It was nice growing up as a big family because we really never needed to really go out to be entertained because there was enough of us there. And shoes was very, very cheap. We could buy sandals and shoes like for 98 cents for a pair of sandals. And it was just, that was the way of life. Things was very inexpensive then, but now, don't even talk about it. They didn't have very much money because they didn't need money for anything. You know, everything was my father, and they just grew it right there on the farm. Oh, I went to St. Paul's Elementary School in Lawrenceville, Virginia. We had a music teacher named Mrs. Russell, and we would be in line in our classrooms. And when she hit that piano, boom, we start marching up to the chapel to have services for the morning. He came to my house when I was a little young girl, 16 years old. In other words, my two older sisters, they had friends, and he came along with their friends, and I met him. That's how I met him. He came to my house. I felt like my husband, he was in the Navy. His name was Robert Hezekiah Green, and we used to sing a lot of a song about a house and a lot in Baltimore, little Eliza James, but I never dreamed of living in Baltimore really because most of my family lived in New York, but most of his family lived here in Maryland. And that's where he had a job, and when he came out of the Navy, he went to school as a barber, and when he finished that, he was working at a restaurant that make short order cook. Oh, I have 9 children. Unfortunately, I only have 5 now. My youngest son was murdered back in 1989, and I had one daughter to die of pancreatic cancer. Her name was Cynthia Glorice, and Wendell is deceased also. He had stroke. And people used to say, oh, you all have so many children, so many children. Are you going to ever finish washing diapers? And I would say, well, and just leave it like that. But now I'm glad we did have 9 children because 4 of them are deceased, and I only have 5 left. One lives in Florida, and one lives in Virginia, Louisiana, and one lives here in Maryland, out near Columbia. And I have one son that lives here, and he's a barber. We have had a barber shop in the family for the last 50 years. But he said he is tired of barbering, and he's going to retire soon. My son Wendell was in the Navy, the same as his father. My son Arthur Herbert he was in the Marine Corps. And the older son, Robert Jr., he had an accident, and he was drafted to go into the service. But when he had the accident, he had metal put in his jaw, and when he got ready to board the plane, the metal sound off, and they wanted to know what it was, and that they deferred him for that reason. So he joined the police force, and he stayed in the police force for 30 years. Then he retired as a captain. After I had gotten married and I had a picture album with all my pictures when I was young, when my older brother used to take us to carnivals and movies in different places. And when we got there to his house in Brooklyn, New York, my brother came out and we greeted each other and whatnot, and we went on in. I don't know what we had, but I think he had a young child in his arms or something. And he left my luggage, which I only took bedroom slippers and nightgowns and pictures and things, a few things that I thought was necessary, my toiletries. And when he came back to get my bag, someone had broken into the car and taken my bag out. And all my young pictures when I was young, they were all lost, because when they looked in that bag and found out it was just a picture album and a few toiletries, they felt like, well, nothing here. They probably threw it out on the roof somewhere. But they don't know how much it really meant to me, but I never retrieved it. And that's why I don't have any pictures when I was young, going to carnivals, and had my son called them bomb shooters. My hair would be braided, one sticking one way and the other one sticking another way. And had all these little fancy clothes that my cousins had sent me from New York. And I thought I was big time. All of that was lost when my picture album got stolen. I would not take anything except Jesus from my life that I lived. I don't regret it. I think I lived a good life, and I'm glad that I was reared in the country and know about the country. And we had a building that we used to call the crib, where we would store the feeds for the animals in. But today, man, these guys, they say crib, they talking about their house.
Oh, the swing sets? You think Marvin Gaye was a good-looking man, Grandma?
He was okay. He wasn't an ugly man, but I didn't think he was so good-looking. Even. What you think?
I think he was all right looking.
30. That's all. That's all. They got to pay $30,000 to get it fixed. Yeah, that's